Hello everybody and welcome back to another commentary of Samurai Jack Season 3 episode 10. As per usual, that's the outro. So the previous episode was fun. It was... I've been waiting for that kind of episode. An episode that has something iconic, something striking, something very special that I can point to. And that's not to say that they're, like, I may have hyped it quite a bit too much, considering that the rest of the show hasn't been bad. It just hasn't had anything so outstanding, shall we say. It has been really good, but it hasn't had anything really that something really extraordinary. But now we have that. And there has been quite a few episodes now that have aspects that I can clearly point to and say that this is one of the good aspects of the show. And this episode showcases it. And I hope to get more of those, because I mean, this show has gained quite the reputation, so I mean, I don't think there's any need for me to actually go around talking about it, but regardless. Let's just start with the show proper. I do like a dramatic music for that itch. But that actually here, if you are walking in the woods and you suddenly have to itch yourself that much, that is a really bad sign, because that could mean that there are bugs on you. And by bugs, I mean things that actually crawl inside you and that are nasty. Just saying, walking in the forest, it's dangerous stuff here. That's kind of ridiculous to think about. Yeah, like those kinds of things, and those things burrow into you. That's not nice. They might actually often be bigger than that. Oh, that's disgusting. I don't like bugs. That is a good expression for that, but oh my, that feels nasty.
Mantis! I know it as well as...
Actually, these kinds of martial arts are pretty... I mean, the names make it sound more like children playing on the playground, but it actually is fairly fun, I'd say. It's actually pretty cool. Now, honestly speaking, I don't think that all of these techniques are really quite an accurate representation, but they are at the very least entertaining.
Yes!
It's interesting that there is still this kind of a society of Shaolin monks just still free, just training around. It's pretty unexpected and rather interesting. I see, that's just floating. I can see that being used. Actually, that's probably floating only on while meditating, so that's probably not gonna be any not that useful of a combat ability. This could actually be an interesting episode for Jack to gain more abilities like that jump good ability. It would be really cool if he actually, got more abilities. Unlikely that those would be utilized that much, but the mere existence of them would be pretty satisfying. That is that is certainly not right.
Step forward, son.
Grandmaster.
Now that I have actually mentioned on several occasions that I do like the mystical elements of the show quite a bit. So this, at the very least, seems to be tangling into the mystical aspect of the show once again, and that's gonna be pretty cool because that's something that I really like about the show. So it's gonna be cool to see that once again because, you know, it's just exciting because they always have a new twist on it. So no two episodes are the same, you know. This is gonna be cool to see.
I am the pupil of Master Chu.
I became one with nature and
That is really pretty cool. It was rather obvious that he became one with the nature, considering that he has grown to be a part of the tree. That's pretty... That's interesting, to say the least. That's rather extreme as well.
received energy and nourishment from the earth itself have surpassed me.
And now Jack's like, actually no, I time traveled.
No, Grandmaster, it is not as it appears. Aku tricked me.
that is such a meaning, like E.T. calls home. That's just there's something funny about that meeting, that signal, but whatever. I by the way do like that they had basically a 10-minute long setup for this episode. That's, you know, this is just 2-part structure to the show, but just having the setup be so long it makes me wonder what exactly the rest of the episode has in store for us. Though those stone soldiers are most certainly going to come to life, aren't they? This is going to be an interesting battle, I must say. But hey, at the very least, like, for once, Jack has traveling Actually, now that I think about it, Jack has had traveling companions surprisingly often now, hasn't he? Surprisingly often. Not always, but surprisingly often. That looked really freaking cool. Just as a piece of animation, that looked rather nice. Let's take a look at it again. Oh wow, that's surprisingly feeble stone. It shouldn't break that easily. I mean, yeah, if they just continued to stick around, that would be an endless barrage of enemies, so... Wow. Once again, this is an episode that would make for a fantastic video game level. Also, taking a look at that topmost level of that we can see now, it has basically stairs like right next to one another. It just makes that level kind of pointless, but whatever. Considering if they are just breaking down that whole structure, that would be really dangerous the more I think about it, so... Because that could possibly mean that it would start collapsing. That seems incredibly dangerous of an idea, just... Oh well. Right, you can climb those tubes, but at least Jack can jump good. If you can jump through those floors, why don't you just take a really good shortcut just immediately to the top by just, you know, jumping up? That seems really useful. I mean, at the very least, that other monk and Jack have taken their shortcut and started climbing those tubes, but still. I mean, they are doing pretty well for themselves, and if they decided to use some better strategy, they could probably just fight back to back and just, maybe not back to back, but considering if they go into that little corridor, they can just, actually they do need to use that mobility, so, just fighting smarter would probably give them quite a good advantage, and they can start running away already. So, Also, just saying, if Jack makes it back to the past, that means that everything will probably be reverted, so, and even if they would die, it's a sacrifice to save the rest of, the entire galaxy, so I'd say that's a worthy sacrifice. I mean, these two warriors, of course, Jack didn't go in. That would be far too simple. God damn it! It's regrettable that Jack sojourned, but even if they would die here and Jack made it to the past, they basically helped in saving the entirety of humanity and a lot of other races. Like I said, they would save the galaxy. That's a pretty good cause to die for. And most likely that would live in parallel dimensions, so at the very least they saved their future selves. But no, of course Jack's gonna show up now. Right, they are rockmen, they can go through full walls. That would cause some problems with my strategy. I was thinking you go into that tunnel and you just take a halberd and just smashing away at them, because, halberds are useful like that.
Another way home.
Destroyed. Is it really now? There was nothing there that the sun actually had to hit. So it's just possible that you could just wait one day there and just, the portal would show up again. That would be a really anticlimactic end. Just like, no, the portal's not destroyed. We wait one day for here, and then I go back into the portal. But that would be kind of an anticlimactic ending. Let's just break the whole full mood here.
I am getting used to that.
They are ending with singers here. Okay. Well, Shaolin monks are cool. The second half of the episode was just a fight sequence. It was a good fight sequence. Just a pretty freaking good fight sequence. And that's basically all that's required. They do a proper job in the first half of setting up the story for the episode, and in the second half they pay off the story by having a really interesting fight sequence. This is basically the structure. I mean, it's rather evident that I am kind of disappointed, because, I mean, I feel disappointed. I feel kind of let down because Jack made a stupid decision. But let's look at this positively. This is a flaw in his character, that he's not prepared to make a sacrifice, that he wants a flawless outcome. Even if that outcome would have been a good outcome, that he would have made it to the past, he would have had to make a sacrifice for that. And he was not prepared for that. He cannot think for the greater good. Although that is also a fallacy. But he cannot actually make sacrifices to save everybody. So, or majority of everybody. You get my point. And that's a flaw. That's a flaw. That's a good point. But it's hard to think about it like that, and just instead of just blaming Jack as being stupid. It's a visually really interesting looking episode, and those rock soldiers golems are pretty cool looking. The whole travel there was pretty nice looking. The Shaolin monks were pretty cool design. The fight choreography in this episode is pretty interesting, and it's very heavily influenced by Kung Fu, of course, and that's all nice and dandy. And just in general, having this kind of secret society thing, and having a little callback to their past, it's all nice and dandy. It's all pretty good. It's pretty good. Just that ending kind of was a letdown for me, personally. I can see why, but it was predictable, and it was predictable, and it was, and unfortunately, but like, I just don't like that kind of outcome. But if I'm thinking about it positively, that it's a flaw of Jack, that he cannot make a sacrifice, I think I can deal with this episode. No problem. In like thinking about it in such a manner, it makes the episode better. Yeah. That's basically all I have. Like, just it's just that ending just left a sour taste on it. Just don't bother. Just don't know what else to say. It's otherwise just normally just a pretty good episode overall. There's nothing extraordinary about it. It's nothing special. It's just another episode. But that's not bad. It's still enjoyable. It had good action, so you know, I could see myself eating cereal and in the morning and watching this and enjoying my time and then leaving off to work. Like that's one of the show's greatest purposes, is as an entertainment tool. It might not be the most provocative show, but it's at the very least enjoyable. So I'm sounding really down, aren't I? Oh, thank God. It's just... Yep. Thank you all very much for watching. I hope to see you in the future. Have a great day. Stay awesome. Gunmo out. Thanks for watching.